Whether looking to upscale your e-commerce site, digital marketing, or just cut through in the B2B marketing world, Mike Mayer and the Main Event Digital team might have the secret sauce you have been looking for. With me today is Mike Mayer, who's developing marketing strategies and solutions for some very unique companies. On top of that, Mike has some side hustles that you might find interesting as well. Mike is never restless, and that's what intrigued me when we met a few weeks ago. Hey, Mike, thanks for joining me. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Mark. Thanks for having me on the show.
One of the reasons I started doing this a few podcasts ago was to target people and companies who are making a difference, working a little bit differently as the marketing and business world change. When we met a few weeks ago, I was kind of blown away. We met for some other for another product that we'll talk about in a minute.
Yeah.
But when you talked about Main Event, I was really interested because your focus is B2B. Tell me a little bit about your company and how you ended up creating Main Event Digital.
Absolutely. So before I started Main Event, I spent 23 years working for distributors and manufacturers, starting and running their e-commerce and digital marketing departments. I made a go and went out on my own 4.5 years ago and started Main Event Digital with the goal of really servicing the same types of customers, manufacturers, distributors of all different industries, shapes, and sizes. Built a team. We're now 25 people, all US based, and we service companies with a whole wide variety of services, including automated LinkedIn outreach. We do social media, creating content, and also have a platform that we built internally to do organic boosting of social media content. We run paid social, paid search for our customers. We set up automated email marketing workflows. We're building out e-commerce sites, mainly in Shopify, and doing SMS automation, a whole wide variety of services. But how we really go to market is I come in as the strategist, audit and analyze the business, and come up with a strategic roadmap and a KPI dashboard. And that's how every engagement starts with us.
Are you guys, you're working with business to business. What are you doing that's unique to help these companies stand out in their field?
Well, I think we provide a unique angle because of our experience with distributors and manufacturers. We have very little competition as far as other agencies. Most of the leads and customers, they either have had zero marketing help and they're not doing anything. They're going to market with a sales team, or they're going to market with brick and mortar locations, or these companies have like one or two people on staff, and those folks are usually focused on events. They're focused on printing t-shirts. They really don't have a grasp of digital marketing. So every client, every lead that we meet with has a unique prescription as far as what they need to compete. So that's part of what I do. But if I had to identify what is our major differentiators compared to our competition, it's our focus on manufacturers and distributors. And then it's two services. It's automated outreach via LinkedIn. This is one-to-one outreach where from a salesperson, we drip all purely on LinkedIn, a very laser targeted prospect, one at a time. Well, there's many that are going on simultaneously, but the salesperson is basically touching a person on LinkedIn like 15 to 20 times over a month period using an automated workflow. That it really helps to the lead to identify that the salesperson is seriously interested. They keep following me and viewing my profile and sending me messages and liking my content. It looks like a real person is doing all that. So that encourages them to respond and engage. And the second differentiator for us is a platform we built in-house. There's really none other like it that we've come across. It's called Overdrive Viral. And with Overdrive Viral, we will either post on social media for our customers or they'll post themselves. And then we bring thousands of influencers to their posts and we pay the influencers to engage with the content.
The LinkedIn mining or prospecting,
Mhm.
that that's not something you invented, right? But you're using that. I'd like to describe that process
Yeah.
because I think I was unaware of it, and it's brilliant how it's using some AI
Yeah.
and actual um, human contact.
We're 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 using 4 different software platforms to make it all happen. These are not our platforms. We are a service-based organization and we're setting these up for companies. We're integrating the platforms and setting up these workflows. The platforms are Sales Navigator, which is a LinkedIn tool that allows you to mine and filter all of LinkedIn's contact data, which is tremendous and extremely powerful. So we use that as one of the ways to build these hyper targeted prospect lists. The other is with the second piece of software, it's a scraping software that we will go out to a trade show's website and we'll scrape the attendees or the exhibitors. We honestly just need the company names and we can
So,
deduce.
but okay, but that's like that's public information. It's not like
Right.
you're paying for that. That's like
Public.
you go to the trade show site and you see here's a list of attendees,
Yeah,
here's a list of companies. Here,
exactly.
nothing more than a little bit of work to pull out that as you said, scrape it.
Yeah, well, like we're scraping for a client now. There's a conference called FabTech, and they have 1,500 exhibitors, and they want to go after the exhibitors. We're scraping all the company names of those exhibitors. Then we're using Sales Navigator are able to identify who we assume will be at the show. So maybe it's the director of sales, the VPs, the C level. And from there, we use drip software and we go after one of those two lists and we build these workflows where we'll touch someone, with a structured cadence. We'll touch them once a day, once every couple days.
And the drip software with that is inherent in LinkedIn.
No, that is a separate. That's the third
Okay,
software
okay.
package, and we'll
So is that
drip them.
where would that is that something you kind of off the shelf? You're
It's an off the shelf platform that we've
it's a sales
customized.
tool.
Yeah. There's so all when we use all these platforms, we register them using our customers' names and emails.
Sure.
They have full access and they can take over at any point, but they don't really need to. The fourth platform is an integration platform like a Zapier, where when leads come in, we can automate them into a CRM or a Google Sheet or wherever they want them. But we've been able to perfect our application of this drip workflow where we know what the maximum cost per lead will be.
Sure.
And that's what we advertise to customers that we advertise we can bring you hyper targeted B2B leads that you've pre-approved for $50 or less per lead. And when I look at all my competition, the different types of platforms that are all with the same outcome of bringing someone a B2B lead, they start at about 150 to 250.
Is it a high price point because of the ROI? Like you're going after such a big client, or what they're
Right.
selling is ginormous and expensive.
Yeah, you're a distributor of electrical supplies and
Sure.
you've now acquired a commercial contractor in your area through this platform who will become a recurring customer. The lifetime value of these customers are could be in the millions.
Yeah.
So $50 for a lead is cheap.
Yeah.
Right.
Considering, and I think it's just relative. So if someone is watching this and not thinking, B2B, that the different pricing points of everything, somebody might say, "Oh my God, that's an expensive acquisition cost." But again, it's dirt cheap when you consider what your value is to that potential client.
And I should define what we qualify as a lead.
Sure.
So we when we do these drips to these folks, when they connect with you on LinkedIn, we don't count. That's not counted. That's not that important. It's nice to have connections so they can see when you post content. It's when this person responds to you via messages in a positive way, where you've asked them something in messages, which is all automated. Hey, I see you're going to be at the Fab Tech conference down in Orlando in October. Do you want to grab a coffee while we're there? And when they respond, yeah, let's do it, or why do you want to meet, or when they're trying to find out more information, that's a great lead. You've started a conversation, and you've also started a conversation where you're not selling to them. And that's the key to the messages. There's a million companies automating LinkedIn messages.
Mm-hmm.
And what everyone does wrong is they send one invite with a message. That message is typically a novel, and they immediately try to sell you something. Like, can you imagine walking up to someone in real life at a bar?
Yeah.
And first thing you do is start selling. Like, that is the biggest possible turnoff. So what we do is very brief messages, hyper personalized, and no selling. Just trying to establish commonalities and create a relationship and try to get that relationship to continue with a call or a meeting offline.
You're kind of softening the introduction, just
Right.
like, hey, just be used to seeing my name.
Yes.
The worst thing can happen if they don't answer you back. If they don't answer the AI back, they might actually run into Mike at the conference, and oh,
Exactly.
Mike, didn't I see you on?
Uh-huh.
And you're going to be like, yes, you did. They may not have answered you back, but it's effective in that it might even just make the introduction to soften that sell proposition. That's
The
great.
pre-trade show lead acquisition is actually the easiest because we're identifying we're both going to be at a show in person. And I think in the back of their minds, they're like, if I ignore this guy, he knows what I look like. He's on my LinkedIn page. Like, he could easily walk up to me and that would be a little, humiliating,
Sure.
embarrassing that I ignored him. So I think that helps. There's a little pressure there to give me the time of day or give the salesperson the time of day because you're going to potentially run into each other.
Sure. But if your initial and I don't love sales, but I've realized in my career that you always have to be selling. My daughter, who I was just talking with Mike about, she's just out of college, and I said, no one likes sales, but we all are in sales, whether we like it or not. It's
Sure.
how we approach it and where we want to be comfortable. And I think if that introduction is comfortable and receptive to both parties, that it's the wall comes down. And I think that's really where you are trying your best to bring the wall down for
Yes.
these bigger clients who are you also like with the approach to social and digital where it's a little bit more of a shotgun. Granted, it's on social, so it might be accepted and there might be an opt-in. What's the approach? Is there a different approach that you use for your clients in the digital side?
We apply a whole variety of strategies. This could be automated emails that are going out based on how they may have like landed on a landing page or they may have abandoned their cart. There's a whole series of emails that will fire off. That's one strategy. The other is with creative social content, reels, with images, with infographics, trying to promote and bring people directly to a e-commerce page.
Yeah.
SMS blasts are another way. A lot of people are not really going through their email inbox, but everyone's checking their texts like every minute. We do a lot of search engine optimization. So optimizing websites and then doing a ton of content creation to game the Google system to get up in the top rankings of Google. So that will drive people directly to a product page, a category page, a product comparison page. There's a whole wide variety depending on the opportunity. So we do the research to figure out what are the keywords and what are people looking for on Google. And then for those keywords, which of those are not super competitive, but have a ton of traffic.
Yeah.
For those, we'll then create content. And within a few months, we'll start climbing the Google rankings. And we have tons of success stories where we're in position 1 on organic Google for our customers. And you run a search and you don't have to pay for the lead acquisition. That's ideal. So
That when it's organic, that's phenomenal. Yes.
It's a longer term strategy.
Yeah.
My roadmaps typically recommend that we work on that with short term that are usually more, you have to put more money up front to acquire leads.
That sales funnel really does involve, I believe, social and digital and YouTube, because people are going to want to do their research
Of course.
about that company. I've explained this. I've talked to business owners. There's a lot of B2B companies who don't quite get it. I think they will. They don't realize the power of their own stories.
Yeah, when you're going after someone new, 9 times out of 10, they're going to come and check you out to make sure you're legit. And
Yep.
they're going to come to your LinkedIn profile. They're going to come to your LinkedIn company page. They're going to check your Facebook out. They're going to look at your Google My Business reviews. There's a whole selection of places that they're going to go and look. And if you don't have a presence there, or you do have a presence and you have bad reviews, a lot of these platforms, people can rate and review you. Like, you're going to potentially lose that lead before they convert.
Well,
So
we do that on Amazon. We do that,
yeah,
on eBay. We do that on our purchasing of our own, stuff for our house. We're gonna do it, and your sales force is getting younger and savvy. So if they grew up with all these tools, you've got to be there. And I do think there is something amazing about these companies. They always think, oh, I make this die or that tool. It's
mhm.
it's all in the back there. I think that's a story that needs to be told, because to the right audience that connects, that's a success story that of their business. It's also relatable to that potential purchaser. And I think those are stories that need to be told. And it's great that you guys are tapping into that to make that connection.
We find a lot of our customers, but when we start working with them, or even while we are working with them, they've gone to market using a sales team or brick and mortar. And if they do have account executives, they do have a sales team. They are more farmers and less of hunters, uh, and that and that just is not going to work to drive the business. They're going to maybe be able to increase revenue incrementally with the current clients, but they're rarely bringing in new business. And many businesses just assume that's their fate in life and they're going to continue on as planned. And that's just not a way to grow a business. You need hunters, and the hunters need digital tools in this day and age to assist them and to open up doors. And that's what we do. We work best with those aggressive hunters.
That's really cool. So some of the other things that Main Event does. Just give me a hit list of some of the
I'll tell you,
features that you go
yeah,
love to sell Main Event on.
I'll tell you one of our most popular packages, besides the automated LinkedIn and the Overdrive viral organic boosting. We have been building out for small to medium sized distributors. We've been building out Shopify sites. We build out all the product content because rarely do they have robust content on their product pages. So we're talking images, video, spec sheets, romance copy, feature bullets, the whole 9 yards. So we're building all that out. Then we are integrating a competitive pricing engine. That's the secret sauce right there. So the competitive pricing engine is checking their competitors' pricing for in-stock SKUs, comparing it against their product price, and automating the reset of their price to get to a market rate to undercut their competition. With the software smart enough to not undercut what their margin floor needs to be so that they're
You
happy.
can set all that up so it's never going to just give it away.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. They're happy with selling at whatever price the engine changes it to.
And you guys, that is on that's your, so this is a marketing team helping set pricing, which is rather amazing.
We're automating, yeah, the price setting. And the pricing also will increase the prices on your website. So if you're at $10 and all your competition is at 12, well, that's just dumb. You're leaving money on the table.
Yeah.
It'll bump you up to a 11.99 or whatever differentiator you want. Then the next part of the secret sauce, and I'm giving it all away for free here today, is to integrate the e-commerce store with Google Shopping. Then when people search for manufacturer names and part numbers on Google, you show up in the like product tiles that show up typically at the top of the screen. Those are the shopping section of the site. And Google will give you favor because you have the lowest price and you've communicated you have it in stock. Now there's a whole bidding component to that, which we also help with.
Mhm.
If you're bidding against, if you're bidding against Granger and they're $10 more than you and they're paying, $5 a click and you're paying four, well, they may get the sale. So it's not a grand slam for every product, but they're not going to be doing that for all their products.
But it is the market that we're in. I mean, it's the marketplace that we're in right now, and like, I get frustrated when I see people on LinkedIn who just sort of want to return to the way things were 5, 10, 20 years ago. It's like I mean, it's not. I think it's pretty exciting with the market that's out there, the tools that are out there, and they're fascinating. They change all the time. I think it's great how you've kind of assembled this team and these tools to take advantage of that.
My team spends a good portion of our week just doing R&D because we want to be, at the forefront of new tech. And that's why we created the Overdrive Viral, because there was nothing, but we knew that concept would work.
So I don't want to gloss over
Yeah.
Overdrive Viral. Tell us a little bit about that tool and how you bring the influencers in because that's cool too.
Yeah, we have been we launched it in January. We've been recruiting influencers since then. We crossed the 9,000 mark on Wednesday. No, Tuesday of this week. Sorry, today's Wednesday. Uh, that we then when an influencer registers, they tell us their preferences. They tell us where they are. We go and check how many followers each of them have. Then when a client comes to us and says, we want to boost this social media post, we want just United States influencers, we want them that those that are interested in green tech or energy or whatever, we're able to carve out just that group and then blast to them and say, come and engage with this content. We have an AI component that can even provide them with recommended comments that they could use that we have a generative AI creating. They'll come and engage by liking the post, sharing the post, commenting on the post, and then my system will automatically pay them for doing that work. So
That's amazing.
the biggest success story I've had with this is I put up a post. I put up a lot of posts, but one has had now over 4 million impressions on LinkedIn, and it's just a silly quote like about how people work harder when they have a great boss, something to that effect. So the boosting definitely helps get it in front of more people, and if it's decent content and it resonates, then these influencers followers will then engage, and then it's cascades.
How do you when we're saying influencers, let's say I have a company that is making some sort of electrical equipment. How do
Okay.
you tailor the or connect the right influencer to that, which so it doesn't seem like a reach?
Yeah. I mean, it's based on the preferences they specify. So if they
Okay.
said they were interested in electrical or energy or whatever, then when we go to select who we're going to invite, we do it by the preferences.
Okay, that where where it does feel that it's a relatable and a connection
Yeah.
that's valid for
Yeah,
the
we
eyeball.
figured if they're interested in, let's say, electrical and distribution and green energy, there's a good chance that that's the kind of content they're talking about at least some of the time, and that their followers will have some interest in that too. So it's not going to be a one-to-one direct match where a person is in maybe we'll find one guy out of that mix that all he talks about is electrical equipment and he influences people on that, but we're trying to go for the masses and get as close as we can.
Now, is there anything on the horizon that you can tease us with that main event is going to break through?
Well, I'll tell you what else the platform does, which I think might be just that. The platform can bring people to anything. It's basically you have this swarm of influencers you can bring to and have them do whatever work you want. So we use it to have them provide Amazon reviews, to give you Google My Business reviews, reviews on Clutch, Yelp. Uh, they can come and subscribe to your YouTube channel, view your videos. They can subscribe to your podcast on Spotify. So there's a lot of uses to help organically give your content or your channels a boost wherever they might be.
I mean, you guys talk about trade shows, and this is something, I got involved with at NBC. We knew we had to go beyond the linear broadcast model.
Mm-hmm.
And what did we do? We had to create events. So we had health fairs, we had community expos, we had, where you become a hub. I'm looking at your client page. You have so many clients. You could become a trade show in and of itself, where you could almost start, where you could be the introduction. You're the hub, and it's a virtual trade show where your influencers, where it all kind of clicks together.
Yeah,
you can take that and run with that. That's
Thank you for the
okay.
idea.
So beyond main event, we met with one of your pet projects. Tell us about it sounds like you just can't sit down and read a book or watch TV. You've got to be noodling with something, probably a lot like me.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about some of your side hustles, which are all really cool.
So EV Hover, I started about 2 years ago. We are a manufacturer of an adjustable swivel arm for your garage wall that takes electric vehicle charging cables off of the ground onto this swivel extendable arm. And it can take your cable out 9 feet overhead. So it eliminates the trip hazard. It makes the charging experience so much easier, where I pull the connector, the end of the charging cable, off of the holster. I plug it into my car. And when I'm done charging, I unplug, I hang it on the holster, and then I can swivel or fold this thing right back up against the wall. There's no coiling. I'm not picking this cable off my dirty Chicago garage floor and having to coil it and getting my hands dirty. And it's not just, I see a lot of folks that have EVs and they're like coiling it and just throwing it up on the recycling bin.
Yep.
Or it's hanging on like a hose hook.
Listen, we were at a EV readiness conference last week, and I was describing your product, and I mean it instantly connected with this one guy, and he's like, "Oh, you mean like at an automatic car wash, the arm that comes out?" I go, "Exactly." Yeah. And when people realize that, oh, so it can go anywhere, I go, "This guy's got 2 EVs, so the charger's on one side of the wall, it stretches all the way across, and it then collapses and it gets out of the way, and nothing's going to get rolled over, and like you said, it stays clean." So that's why we met, and I think it's very interesting. You've got a couple other things that you've got in the works, which are also really cool. You feel free to pitch them.
I have another company that I'm in the process of starting that I really can't talk much about, but it's going to be.
That sounds interesting already.
It is. It's going to make vendor referral agreements much easier for people to. It makes it really easy to make referrals to vendors that you're working with and get paid for those referrals.
That sounds really cool.
Really,
And then you also host a podcast. Tell us a little bit about the podcast.
So I have a podcast called The CEO Next Door. It's nextdoorceo.com. Okay. And we've run 3 full seasons, and we interview like the CEO next door. We interview entrepreneurs, not the Elon Musks of the world, but the guy, down the street who has a ditch digging company, who has made himself, tens of millions of dollars that no one's ever heard of. And I just am intrigued and love their stories. And I self-serving, I want to learn from how did you start from in high school digging ditches to running this like massive multi-million-dollar company? So we'll go through the journey and the lessons learned, and I hopefully impart some wisdom to my listeners. And we're interviewing all different types of entrepreneurs from different industries, and It's just a side hustle, just non revenue generating, but
Yeah.
fun for my
Listen,
partner and I. Yeah.
I just think there's a lot of you know, the reason I'm here with you today, like I said, these are great stories. And if you learn something about it, I think that's really cool because, like, you know, a lot of the insight, the people that I've talked to, um, that the insight that they give is just is crazy valuable. It can be used by other people. It's a
So
lot of
much.
fun,
Yeah.
and it's stuff that's happening. You know, this is all stuff happening in our backyard. So, you know, I will. I'm going to put all of your links right down below.
Thank you.
You're gonna get the link to the podcast, to main event. I will gladly pass on any links that we missed today.
I'll actually plug, if we have time, I'll plug
Yeah.
one more company that I think is really unique. That is not mine directly, it's my wife's. But I don't know if I told you about this at lunch. She has a company called Little Green Kitchens, and she is a luxury kitchen broker. And these are used kitchens. So if you are about to remodel your house and you're shopping for a new kitchen, you'll buy that new kitchen, then you'll come back and have your contractors destroy your current kitchen and put it
Yeah.
in a dumpster. Well, she wanted to find a more green way to manage this. So she'll come in and photograph and document the measurements, and she has been running this company like 7 years. So she has a tremendous list of people that buy kitchens. So she will then post it online, contact her list, and usually the turnaround time for her to sell a kitchen is 1 week.
Wow.
Her challenge is never selling, it's finding the people that want to do a remodel and get rid of their current kitchens. She doesn't take possession of the kitchens, but when you do the demo, which needs to be gentle so that you don't destroy the cabinets, no sledgehammers, she will have the buyer's truck waiting at your house
Wow.
to put it right into their truck, so you don't need to store it, you don't need to destroy it, it doesn't go in a landfill, so it's green, and she just takes a commission on the sale.
Is it appliances or strictly like cabinets, countertops?
Great question. It's everything. She rarely sells any individual items, she sells the whole kitchen.
A whole
And
kitchen.
it's the appliances, it's the
Wow.
cabinets, it's sinks, faucets, and countertops. Now, countertops are often a little iffy where she can't make any guarantees because when you rip them out, and they sometimes, the granite will crack.
And there's
So,
sizing issues that are custom and yeah.
exactly. So
Yeah.
typically she's pricing it without the countertops, and those are just a bonus.
Wow, that's amazing. So you guys are complete. You know, when we're sitting around watching TV and reading a book, you guys are out thinking of dreaming up a new business, which I think which is really makes this country run and it makes everything super interesting.
We're throwing a lot against the wall.
Wow, it's just like you know something's got to stick.
Something's going to stick. We love being entrepreneurs. I've been a side hustle entrepreneur my entire life, but really I took the, dove head first 4.5 years ago. And now I don't have, $1 billion company paying my salary anymore.
Yeah,
So
listen, you know, I've told my kids this. I kind of learned this. Again, I worked at some really big companies where, you know, people say, oh, you know, you'll be there your whole life. And then all of a sudden there's a downsizing or the company gets sold or the market changes. And, you know, you know, that someone, I think I saw it online, which is be ready to say yes. Always say yes. You may not know what you've just said yes to, but if you can figure it out, you will learn so much and grow from that experience. And it sounds like you guys are living that every day.
we love controlling our own destiny.
It's very
And
cool.
and yeah, it takes a lot of the risk of losing all of your salary. You lose a client, you still are, bringing home some revenue.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's fun. And it's a lot more motivating when you know whatever you're doing is for your family.
Yeah, it's very, really cool. Plus, you know, if you have the energy and you have
Mhm.
the drive and you can't turn your mind off, you might as well make it work for you.
Exactly. Yes.
So, well, Mike, I want to thank you for joining me on the pitch today. This has been incredible. Again, links are down below from kitchens to main event to overdrive to everything is going to be down below. And again, really, really cool. I think there's such great information you gave us today that a lot of people can learn from, and companies as well. So really appreciate your time, and we will catch you again on the pitch soon.
Thanks, Mark.